What the haters talking about?
We are live on Facebook. I'm right here with the incomparable ZaZa Ali. Hey, what's up, sister?
Peace, King. I'm excellent. How are you?
When I talk to you, I gotta say sister. You know, you just bring out the brother in me. You know, I gotta say sister, queen, bow down, like love. It's all love.
I'll take that and some, and right back at you. I appreciate all the love, and that feeling is definitely mutual.
Thank you. So what's going on with you? I mean, it's been a minute since we spoke. What's going on?
A lot. Staying busy, working smart,
Right.
not hard but smart. I got some women's retreats going on in Savannah and in Sedona. My third book is coming out in February called The Science of Sex. And, just building my online platform, studying in the lab, constantly researching, constantly trying to bring new information and relevant information to the times and what we're going through.
Normally people talk about the social media handles at the end, but let's put it on out there right now. Put it on their mind right now. How do people get in contact with ZaZa?
Well, my website is ZaZaAli.com. I'm on Facebook, ZaZa Ali, YouTube, ZaZa Ali. You can get all my social media platforms through my website, ZaZaAli.com. My books are there. I have an archive of my blogs and my videos. You can get everything through my website.
Okay. What's this Sister Cipher about?
Well, I have the Sister Cipher Support Group. It is a group of, we're about 100 strong now, Black women who are financially supporting one another. We put a certain amount of money into the pot every month, and we give it to a selected member of our group. And we have 3 groups right now, and it's doing really, really well.
Right. Well, that's a good segue into this discussion we're about to have. I mean, Black women and their finances. So I posted this video of this guy talking about how he didn't appreciate how his woman or women are not at home. They're working too much and they're putting family first. And so this is how we got into this discussion. Me and you were just having a conversation yesterday, and you were like, you know what, we need to have this discussion on a larger scale. And so here we are. Here's the exact quote from this dude who I reposted on Instagram. And this is what he had to say about Black women who work, who have careers, who put in a lot of hours on the job. He said, Black women love work more than they love themselves and their families. Black women would rather work for a corporation ran by white men as opposed to building with a Black-owned business or a Black man. There is no rebuttal or opinion. Prove it. Is he out of touch, or is he on to something?
Or is he on something?
Is he on something?
Wow. I found it interesting that in the video he said he had a fiance. God bless her. She's got her work cut out, but Black women are starting businesses and business owners at a phenomenal rate across this country. I believe we are leading that particular category as far as starting businesses. So the idea that Black women would prefer to work for white men than to be involved in a Black-owned business when we're starting Black businesses in record number is a fallacy. It's a weird conundrum because we do have this aspect in our communities now where our women are not emotionally, and when I'm not generalizing, I'm talking about collectively, on a broader scale. I know that there's sisters that are handling their business, but collectively, we do have an issue where our sisters are not emotionally and domestically, if that's the right, available to our families, and it's affecting the outcome of what we're producing. We can look in our communities and see that there is a negative impact being had, and it's not only on the fathers. So when we talk about 70% of Black households who are headed by women and men are not there, there's absolute, blame and finger pointing or responsibility directed at those 70% of brothers who are not in the household, but also what's happening in those 70 percentile households that there's only a woman present. Are we, and this is outside of the scope of whether or not you're working, because we know if there's no man in the house, sisters gotta work. But even in still, whether you work, whether you have a career, whether you have a business, the emotional and mental and spiritual connection between the child and the mother. I talk to brothers all the time who have very dysfunctional relationships with their mother, were abused in different type of ways, had a lot of issues growing up, and never really received that affectionate, loving, compassionate relationship, which is what he talked about in his video. His mother was so busy working that she was never home. Well, I'm pretty sure if she had the chance to actually be home and be nurturing her children and be there more, she would have been.
Bam.
But this,
Hold on, wait a minute. Bam, 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 bam. That's what I'm talking about, man. It's like these guys act like women, many of these women have a choice.
Mhm.
Like, for the most part, like the women that I know, most of the women that I know that are professional women,
Mhm.
I mean, let me take that back. Not most of them, every single one that I know
Mhm.
tell me that they would prefer to be at home if, and be with the children and their husband if they had that opportunity, if that was an option.
Mhm.
It's not an option for many women.
Right. And where's the compassion? You know what I mean? This is why the connection between us as men and women, this is something that has to be explored. Bruh, where's your compassion to just get on the video and start sounding off and minimizing Black women, like, on that bed witch tip, like we're always looking to serve or worship the white man, when a lot of what we do and how we're responding in our realities is based on circumstance, is based on need. But where's the empathy and the respect and the compassion for Black women when it comes from our men, and understanding our circumstances and what history and racism and even the disconnect with our men has the position that it's put us in?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put this out here right now. If not for my kid's mother, when things got bad for me, shit, everybody would have been suffering.
Yeah.
Your mother went and got her education. She went and got her a good job that pays well with great benefits. And when daddy got financially in a bind, mama kicked in.
Yeah.
Now, where would we have been if not for that? If she wouldn't have not saw that in advance and say, you know what, let me make sure that, I got something to fall back on, or we got something to fall back on, just in case. Because, I'm in what they call a spotty income industry. I could make, $300,000-$400,000 one year, or $1 million one year, and may not make nothing for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So when you have situations like that, what is a woman to do? The way I see it, like, women have two options when it comes to their professional, when it comes to their personal partners, right? They could either find a cat that's super duper supportive, or have no relationship at all. It's like the women have, like, that, because we dropped the ball.
Yeah.
We put ourselves in this position. It's like, what do you want them to do? You want women to sit around and wait and hope against all odds that knight in shining armor comes through and takes care of her, and not cheat and abuse his authority, and not leave her to fend for herself if the relationship goes south?
Yeah.
I just don't, if I was in their shoes, if I was in your shoes, I just would not count on that.
Well, that, and what what happens to a woman's goals and aspirations, right? When I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a lawyer. I just wanted to be a lawyer. Then I got real into sports. I wanted to be a sports commentator. My role and my dreams and goals and desires have changed throughout the years, but I always had a goal. I always had a dream. So if I aspired to be a lawyer at 10 years old, why is that a problem?
Right.
Not because I have to work, not because, the what you talked about, the need factor, or being in a situation where the family needs support. What if I have goals and aspirations? What if I'm a great mathematician?
Right.
What if I'm one of the greatest writers that ever walked this planet? Do I not have the right as a sovereign being to express my greatness, to express my skills and my gifts and give it to the world? Isn't that the purpose that we're here?
Right. I think most men are happy to have a successful woman, a high earning woman,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll applaud and support her as long as it don't affect their career,
Yeah.
or their personal needs.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times that I even felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey man, all this career thing, oh yeah, it's great, man. Do your thing, babe. I got you, babe. I got you. What you need? What you need? I got it, babe. I'll take care of the kids. I'll look out the kids. Go do your thing. Let's get it. Moving on up the ladder. Oh, wait, hold on now, damn. I ain't signed up for all this time that you putting in over there.
Mm-hmm.
By me now, So you have to really consider that. And I think that women really have to think about, what type of career path they want to get on, what they're doing professional wise, and make sure that they find a dude who really understands that and supports that, and will not be intimidated by that.
Yeah. Well, you said something that was critical. You said, as long as it doesn't affect a man's personal needs, right?
Right.
Now put a pin in that. We as women, 90% of what we do is based around our men's personal needs when we're in a relationship, often to the point where we lose ourselves. And I talk to a lot of women, and there's a common consensus that we tend to get in relationships with men, and his goals and aspirations become your goals and aspirations. His desires become your desires. His career objectives or his business objectives become your objectives. So we put our personal needs on the back burner in order to help our men implement and enforce their own, which we should do. We're helpmeets, right? But the helpmeet connotation has to be reciprocal. Now, obviously, when a family comes into play, when we have children, or if we decide to get married, before you even take that step, like you said, find a man who is secure in who he is, because the right man for a woman is going to elevate her to the point where she's going to be trying to reach her highest potential, right, where she's going to try to explore and live out her gifts. This is the thing that we're getting in relationships. And, a lot of times it comes with baggage, the relationship that your mother had with your father, the way your father thought about how a woman was supposed to interact in a house, the way your mother felt a woman shouldn't act in a house or should act, all of these things that are imposed on us from the way we grow up through tradition, through society and whatnot. So you have people coming together and they never really discuss openly, right, what it is, my goals, I plan on going to law school. This is an example. There's going to be some days when I'm going to be in school, 10 hours a day. Is that going to be an issue for you? No, up front, it's not going to be an issue. But then, like you said, you eventually had caught a little bit of, there was some tension when you figured out that, okay, this is getting to be a little bit too much. But this is where sacrifice in relationships come in. You know what I'm saying? You being an artist, I'm pretty sure you spent a lot of time on the road. Anybody in a relationship with you has to sacrifice not being with you, not having you physically present to support. That's what love is. Right. You know what I'm saying? It has to be reciprocal in our relationships if we decide and agree on that.
Right. Yeah, and let me put this disclaimer out there real fast. You know, the reason why I'm enjoying having this conversation with ZaZa is because ZaZa, for all you men out there that's looking at her like she the enemy, I'm gonna tell you straight out the bat, she ride for men, specifically black men. She ride for y'all. So this ain't no poo butt that I'm interviewing, okay? This ain't some chick that's off in her feelings or whatever. She's a critical thinker and a strong supporter of black men. So that's why I thought it was important to interview her. And for the dudes out here that looking at me like, oh man, Willie D simping. Let me tell you something, man. I've been through it, dog. I've been there with the whole macho shit. I've done it. You know, it don't work, man. I'm telling you, it don't work. You're gonna either find you a woman that you're gonna be supportive of 100%, or you're gonna be by your damn self.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You might hold on to it for a little while, and your pride gonna kick in, and all that's gonna hold on, and you can talk all that tough talk to your homies all you want. But at some point, just like when these employers don't respect an executive female, female that's in executive position, they don't respect them, she is going to leave.
Exactly.
I can guarantee you that she will leave you. And I don't care how good the work is that you do on her and all that stuff, how cute you look and all that stuff, man, it ain't gonna matter when she fed up and it's time to leave. If that woman don't get that support that she needs, she gonna bounce.
Yeah.
Your job is like ZaZa was just saying, it is to support her. That's her, whatever her ambition is. When it kick in, when she say, you know what, when you, first of all, you probably knew when you got into the relationship that she wanted to be a lawyer, or she wanted to be an engineer, whatever. And let's say you got into the relationship and she deferred her dreams for you. Just to be a helpmate, 1000%, be there for you and back you and your aspiration. At some point, this happens a lot of times. Women, whatever they wanted to do in life, at some point, it kicks back in, and they go like, okay, I've done everything for everybody else, and I've raised the kids, and I want to do something for me, and I think I want to go back to school. I want to be a lawyer. Man, you got to support that, man.
Right.
Support. You ain't no trying to talk her out of it. You can try to hold it off for a while, but you got the way to get the best out of her is to support the best in her.
And I think I'm so glad to hear you say that. And like I was telling you on the phone yesterday, but the conversation we were having, brothers need to hear men express those type of things, because quiet as it's kept, there's some women out here that don't think that men with that perspective even exist. It's like we've as women, we've sacrificed so much. Like you said, your children's mother was the glue at one point. On a collective, we've been the glue. Black women have been the glue, holding it together. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's financially, whether it's, we got sisters raising boys in war zones right now. You know what I'm saying? Alone. So there has to be the energy shift. It has to be balanced. And this is why, back to what you said about me, ZaZa hating men, because I challenge brothers to be better and do better, because I love Black men, because I see your potential. I'm a student of history. I know what you've been through. I've seen the struggle. I've studied the greatness in you. I've seen the greatness in men such as yourself and brothers that I interact with all the time. We have to set a higher standard for Black men. Now, you're going to tell me I have a 14-year-old son that I don't have the right and the responsibility to speak to the king in you?
Yeah.
You don't want to be a king yet? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm striving, not you, I'm not talking to you, but I'm striving to speak to the king in Black men. Yeah. And so when somebody comes back to you and say, Willie D, you simping, okay, well, this is a king trying to have a conversation with you fill in the blank. You know what I'm saying? So we have to up the ante on the standards that we have for Black men and the emotional well-being of Black men. I told you yesterday, this, you know, the situation with the Women's March and the Me Too and the, you know, the rape culture and the heightened conversation right now around women's rights, and rightfully so. You know, I mean, we could do a whole show just talking about what women have been through and all of the damage that has been done. But as women, we have to step back and look at this situation. We can't just have a trading war stories event where we come together and everybody's swapping war stories and there's no real effort to heal. It cannot only be an effort to heal women at the same time. There has to be an effort to heal men. Men are the other half of us. We are the other half of men. Together, we make a whole. That's how we create human beings. That's how we create life. So if, So if we as women, being that we give birth to both sexes, if we are not working in this time where we're talking about this whole rape culture and the disrespect of women, if we're not making a concerted effort to heal our men, to get to the root of the problem, and some of it ties back to women, again, the mother-son relationship. How was the child nurtured? Was he breastfed? Did he get enough lap time? Did he have the balance of the male-female energy? What was the mother's eating habits like when he was in her womb? What was she thinking when he was in her womb? All of these things matter and create the type of human beings that we eventually become. I don't see feminists or this collective agenda right now talking about this from a perspective that's going to elevate us. I don't want to get us stuck in a victim mentality. And if you were raped or if you have been harmed as a woman, you are a victim. But we have to look at what we've been through and the collective consciousness of women and what are we producing to get us to this point, giving full responsibility and accountability for what our men have done, white men, Black men, all men, but at the same time, taking a real constructive look at ourselves and what we can fix and what we can change.
How much of this is perception and how much of it is reality in terms of the criticism that's levied against the Black woman?
Say that one more time, perspective versus?
How much is perception and how much is reality in terms of the criticism that's levied against Black women? It's a lot of, you know, it's not just Black men that are saying this stuff. Like I read a lot of reports and things that come from so-called people who are experts who gather data, and they're saying Black women this, and Black women are the least likely women to be married, and Black women are leaving Black men, and Black women are they're more susceptible to this and that, you know, just all of this negative shit, right? And I look at it and I see the propaganda, right? I look at it like it's propaganda.
Yeah.
I know that there are some truths, right? But I know that what they like to do with us, they like to take our worst examples and broad stroke them and make generalizations.
Yeah.
How we are. Same that they do with Black men. They like to generalize Black men and say we are all this certain way. They take our worst examples, right? And then they magnify them as the truth.
Right. Like people who, you know, who are around the world who may only have a vantage point of Black women in America from, you know, social media, thinking that everybody, you know, all Black women are Black China-ish. You know what I mean? But when we look at the grandmothers, when we look at the aunties, when we look at the sisters in the community, you go to the DMV, you go to, you know, the bank, you deal with a teller. All of these women that we come across on our day-to-day interactions are just out here trying to get it, whether they're going to school. You know, I'm here in Atlanta between Spelman and Clark University. I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of Black women and Black men, of course, but sisters here literally studying to better themselves, to create a righteous life for themselves. Right. You know what I mean? So we could look at every demographic, whether it's white men, whether it's white women, whether it's Latino women, whether it's brothers. If we put a magnifying magnifying glass on a certain part of that demographic, everybody would look like, you know what I mean? If we put a camera in the what do you call it? Oh God. In the trailer parks, right? And shine the light on trailer trash, we could make white men look like savages just from that lens. So if we put a camera in, you know, East Oakland, deep in the hood, you know what I mean, where people are getting shot and sisters is out on the corner selling their bodies, we can imagine a certain type of caricature for Black women. But the sisters that I know from Oakland to here are handling their business, are trying to find their way, studying, reading, and, you know, everybody ain't perfect. We all got our things, but I know plenty of Black women that are doing very well for themselves and striving to do even better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I know plenty of Black women who are doing better for themselves and doing well for themselves and striving to do better. I also know Black men that are that way, right? So when I hear these people, especially, man, what the hell is wrong with Black people who be co-signing this dumb shit? It's like they live in a bubble themselves. It's like they'll get into a little corner or something of the world, and it's like they regurgitate these white supremacist talking points, right? Yeah. It's like they just regurgitate it. It's like they don't do anything. And like, if you don't know progressive Black people, you don't know any honest, law-abiding. You don't. If the majority of people Black people that you know are not like that, are not progressive, are not good, hardworking, decent, honest people, you need to motherfucking get out a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a reflection of you.
That is a reflection of you, because I know a bunch of people like that. In fact, most of the people that I know personally are that way. Yeah. So you're right. That's a reflection of you if you don't know more people like that. Right. And that's it regardless of what your race is.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, and that's another, we could tie that back into the relationship factor as far as the type of, I saw a sister put a comment on your chat as far as, you know, kind of demeaning or disrespecting Black men and how Black men ain't do, you know, that argument. It's like, you know, if you keep coming across men who behave in a certain type of way, if you keep coming across women who behave a certain type of way, you know, this whole idea that, touche, this whole idea that, you know, there ain't no good Black women out here, there ain't no good Black men out here, that is more a reflection of you than the reality of the condition of Black men and Black women. Because I know plenty of brothers and sisters who are making it happen and who are doing very well for themselves. Right. So getting back to, you know, us understanding our own innate power, the power of your mind, the power of your thinking, the power of your emotions. If you operating at a certain level, you only going to attract things that are on the same vibe as you. Right. But you know what I mean? It's like that nigga frequency, which I call it. There's a whole frequency. You know what I'm saying? There's a righteous frequency. There is a, you know, studious or hardworking frequency. There's all of these layers to us as people. If you are constantly traveling on a road of mud and dirt, you should expect people that are traveling on a road of mud and dirt that are navigating those same type of environments to come into your cipher.
Yeah, you know what? And most of the people who got negative, like most of the dudes that are just always riding, that are ride Black women, it's always dogging Black women. Most of the Black women who are always dogging Black men, you know, they're the same people. It's just ironic that these are the same people who don't support Black businesses either. Right. These are people who really hate themselves, right? Yeah. And I just can't figure out how in the hell do these type of people call themselves good parents and they hate themselves? Yeah. How can you be a Black man and say you love your daughter and you hate Black women? You hate
real talk.
You hate that which she is to become.
Real right? Talk.
How can you be a Black woman and hate Black men, and you have a Black son, but you hate that which he is to become? You're not qualified to raise him. Yeah. You're not qualified. You're not even qualified. Yeah.
Well, you know, again, getting back to that emotion, a lot of these brothers and sisters got mommy and daddy issues. Right. meaning that, like I said, not enough lap time, not enough breast time, not enough, nurturing and compassion. So the hatred that they feel for Black women is the real hatred that they have for their mothers. The
Right.
fact that she was, like this dude in the video talking about his mother was never home because she had to work, right?
Yes.
So that was her fault because she had to work. You know what I'm saying? How can you blame her? You should be thanking her that you have food. You know what I'm saying? That you have food on the table.
You don't eat, you don't sleep.
Bruh. You know what I'm saying? So this idea now that, and I think that this caricature of Black women online now, I mean, if we did a YouTube search, the amount of videos and negative websites that are geared towards Black women, whether it's ratchet, whether it's thoughts, whether it's, all of that, where does that energy come from? And more importantly, what do Black men think that other men think about you when they see you behaving like that? Because they judge you on the condition of your women.
Right. But let me ask you this, okay? All right, let's get into this behavior thing. Okay, so I love to look at a sexy Black woman. I love to see Black women looking sexy and all of this stuff. And I love to see naked pictures of women too. But like I see a lot of this stuff on not just Instagram, but even when I go out, sometimes I see women dressed like they're undressed.
Yeah.
It almost looks like nightclub underwear or something they have on.
Yeah.
Like everything's popping out, all the skin, like you can see all in the pubic area.
Yeah.
You see everything except the split and the actual nipple itself. Like
right.
You can see the definition of it and all that, but you can see everything popped out, all as much leg skin, as much skin as you can show. It's like a competition to show as much skin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some girls who dress like that, they are thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
They straight up, ain't no two ways about it. They call themselves thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how do we work this out with the women who are not thoughts, who feel like they have to dress like that when they go out? Also, they got to buy them a dress like that and jump out there also. And I know these women are clearly not thoughts. There's many of these women are married.
Mm-hmm.
They're in committed relationships. They not running the streets and all of that, but they still are dressed like that.
Mm-hmm.
As a man, what is it that they want from us, in terms of cooperation or or even in regard to respect?
Well, that's great. I'm glad you asked that question to close it out. Somebody in your chat room said, pull your mic closer. I think they might, that's what they said in your chat room. Come closer to your mic. And that's probably because I talk loud, so maybe I sound loud.
Tell me how I sound, because I thought I was good, but somebody else let me know.
Okay.
I pull my mic too close, I'm gonna be in your living room.
So here's the thing, there's a such thing as overexposure. Right now, as women, we are overexposing ourselves. And what it is that a lot of sisters, and I'm going to deal with the thought versus the women who just want to dress the way that they want to dress. Now, let me just say, sidebar, I don't tell women how to dress. Mm-hmm. You want to dress, you know what I mean? I'm not sitting here judging people based off of, if they want to wear a split up to their, chin, or, you know what I mean? I don't tell people how to dress. We all have free will. We can do what we want to do, but there are repercussions for our actions. What's happening, and women have to understand this, is that when you dress a certain type of way, you're appealing to the lower nature in a man. This is fact.
I never heard that.
This is fact. You are appealing to the lower nature in a man. So you say she shows all the skin. How many of these same sisters show their mind? See, if we can show the skin, can we show our hearts? Can we show our minds? Is it as important to give off positive energy and positive emphasis on how we should be thinking, how we should be seeing the world? See, you can't objectify yourself and then get mad at people for treating you like an object. right? That doesn't give men a green light to rape women or disrespect women, or, you know, the man's responsibility is one half of this. But on this half, talking about women, if you objectify yourself, you are increasing the chances of being treated like an object. Now, you say some of the sisters are married, right? So they go home and they're, you know, safe in, you know, with their husband, and they have that type of, hopefully that type of safe surrounding. But when you are appealing to the lower nature of the men around you, there's repercussions for other women that you don't understand. So when a Amber Rose goes online and puts up a picture of herself with her all her whole entire body exposed, right? Again, appealing to the lower nature in man. This is why now it's not a big deal that everybody's sharing pictures of fake dolls with the Amber Rose-esque body, right? There's no shock and awe in it. It's salacious because we're used to this now. Women set the standards for culture. Women set the standards for how the civilization is going to be run. Not that we are the leaders of the civilization, but the way we carry and conduct ourselves. Do we appeal to the lower nature in our men, or are we appealing to the higher nature, meaning his mind, meaning his emotions, his heart chakra, meaning his spiritual well-being? There's too much emphasis for us as women on overexposing ourselves sexually and not exposing our minds.
True that. I'm glad you spoke on the thing about men, because some men do feel like they justified in, well, not necessarily them, but they feel like it's justified if a woman is raped or something like that. Mm-hmm. You know, it's dressed a certain way. I've seen dudes online read comments where some girl was raped or whatever, and then they, well, look what she had on, and
yeah, that's insanity.
That insanity. You sound like a savage, you know. Like,
but to your point, let me say this while this thought. We have a whole entire culture and civilization in America that appeals to the lower nature of men.
Right.
So that's the perverted result. Right. See, you brothers like you can be in the midst of women that are, you know, showing everything and still be able to maintain your dignity and carry yourself in your manhood. But when society is constantly attacking men by their lower nature, and then you got brothers out here who, you know, have mental illnesses or who aren't doing well in work, don't have money, have all these different layers of problems, that energy becomes perverted now. He feels like he has the right to attack a woman because we are giving them so much of ourselves on social media, in all of these different mediums. I'm not justifying rape. I'm getting into the psychology of the insanity of what America's producing. America's producing rapists.
What the haters talking about?